The video reveals disturbing CCTV footage of a man carrying and dumping a 3-year-old's body in Cape Town. It was revealed in Western Cape High Court. Mortimer Saunders has been convicted of murdering Courtney Peters while he was living with the 3-year-old and her mother in Alice's River. Mortimer Saunders pleaded guilty to murdering Peters. Often, he said, she was annoying to him. He fed her poison, but once she started to complain of feeling ill, he suffocated her as to hide what he did. He confessed performing a sexual act on the child. He afterwards attempted to dump the body after she was reported missing. He carried the 3-year-old's body to the dump site in Epping Industrial. We first see Mortimer on May 4, 2017 at a busy intersection in Epping, a few hundred meters from the home. He's seen carrying what appears to be a big plastic bag over his shoulder. Inside the bag was the remains of the little girl he had slaughtered. The last time we see him on camera was here, seemingly struggling with the weight of the body. He removes Peters from the bag and carried her over to the other side of the tracks. He then leaves her hidden under some newspapers and packaging. He cleans up the area and then vacates, holding his head in his hands. Thankfully, he was convicted and sentenced to jail. This CCTV footage taken on April 2, 2017 shows 2 brothers and another person pushing a wheelbarrow. Inside it, human remains from their victim. They were caught on footage taken from the backyard of the suspect's neighbor. The brothers can be seen making several trips, only in their underwear, from their house to the area believed to be where they set the victim's body on fire and buried it not far away. After the victim was dismembered by the brothers in their bathroom, his remains were later taken out, piece by piece, to the area. The third person with some clothes on can be seen helping the brothers transporting the dismembered remains and other items using the heinous crime. Here the victim's hair can be seen peeking through while the 3 boys were struggling to push the wheelbarrow. The 2 brothers, who were aged 16 and 17 at the time, were arrested for the killing. Their victim was 19-year-old Lyndon, whose parents reported him missing since April the 3rd of that year. According to the police reports, Lyndon was actually a dear friend to the brothers. Authorities are still looking for the third suspect, known only as Lance. The police acquired a screenshot from a chat room exchange between one of the suspects and a witness. It shows the suspects were mulling over the idea of beating up Lyndon for allegedly stealing a cell phone charger. Lyndon's father said his son had been missing for almost 2 weeks before the remains were found. On November 7, 2016, police in Wyoming, Michigan released a daunting video showing Brady Ostrike, a Craigslist killer, setting up a chilling sex torture dungeon where he kept an 18-year-old girl chained for 5 days before subsequently killing her. In the footage, Ostrike is seen preparing his torture chamber, setting up chains, cleaning a dog cage where he later imprisoned his victim, Brooke Slocum, and readying a pulley system with ropes hanging from the ceiling. The video is dated July 5, 2014, 1 full week before the murders would occur. Another video, dated July 12th, shows Ostrike pacing back and forth in the basement of his bathroom anxiously. Mere hours later, Brooke Slocum, 18, and her boyfriend Charles Openair, 25, were supposed to meet with Ostrike after connecting on the online marketplace, Craigslist. Ostrike allegedly was to pay the pair for sexual acts. Police speculate Ostrike attacked and beheaded Openair the night they met. However, evidence suggests that he kept Slocum, who was 8 months pregnant, captive in the basement for 5 days. Open-air remains were recovered in Gizon Park, but a skull wasn't found at the time. It wasn't until March 26, 2019, police discovered open-air skull on private property in Kent Country. Dental records were used in confirming the identity. Trauma to the skull indicated a homicide scene, and the likely cause of death was gunshot wound. After Ostrike was tracked down via email and Facebook, police identified him as a suspect a day after finding Openair's body. Once pursued by the police on July 17, Ostrike attempted to get away, but his vehicle crashed and he took his life by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Slocum's body was found in the trunk of Ostrike's car inside a suitcase. Her baby, who she had already named, did not survive the crash. The police released hundreds of pages of reports and pictures along with the surveillance video, according with a Freedom of Information Act request. In Ostrike's home, police found whips, swords, and bondage tools. They also found dozens of restraints, ropes, sex toys, and cattle prods. Police also recovered a slave contract. A contract was written by hand and involved sickening clauses such as "I must obey my master" and "pleasure, I must earn it." Another disturbing twist: police who collected evidence from Ostrike's home found a child's sippy cup, a baby doll with a noose, and a suitcase filled with women's clothing, but they saw no evidence of children inside the property. It's likely then that this was just a part of his sick fantasies and sexual games. Police also called the FBI when they discovered a map of the US hung on Ostrike's wall, covered from coast to coast in pushpins. Authorities panicked and thought they were dealing with a serial killer, but a former girlfriend told them that the pushpins represented places where he stored food in case of an apocalypse. The report says more videos, which cannot be released, show Slocum still alive and being held captive in Ostrike's house. The last tape is dated July 17th at 1 p.m. Slocum is first seen on Ostrike's depraved video being dragged in his Taft Avenue house with handcuffs at 1 a.m. on July 13th. According to the police reports, he wrapped a chain around her neck and then bolted it to the bathroom floor and forced her inside the dog cage. Her arms were then attached to a pulley system suspended from the ceiling, which she could manipulate at will, controlling her like a puppet. The videos appear to show that Ostrike convinced Slocum that Open-Ear is still alive before he killed her. The autopsy carried out on Slocum revealed that her cause of death was strangulation. This was not Slocum's first time either. On May 24, there was another girl who he had enslaved in the basement who later escaped. She had met him on another ad site where she was requesting sex and friendship. He would leave her chained up in the basement while he went to work. This video captures the moment Aaron Campbell slithered back into his mother's house to shower after raping and murdering 6-year-old Alicia McPhail. Campbell, who was 16 years old, was caught on CCTV leaving his family home at 1:54 a.m. on July 2, 2018. Moments later, he would have abducted the little girl from her bed and subjected her to horrendous acts of abuse. He was then seen returning home at 3:35 a.m. to shower, and 10 minutes later was spotted leaving again, wearing nothing but a pair of shorts. He then returned at 3:52 a.m., only to leave once again 6 minutes later, seen carrying a torch. Campbell then arrived home for the final time at 4:02 a.m., just 2 hours before Alicia's family reported their daughter missing. Her body was discovered discarded in a woodland that very same morning. A post-mortem determined that she had suffered a staggering 117 separate injuries to her body. Pathologist John Williams agreed the injuries to her private parts were catastrophic, more severe than any he had seen before, and were at least partially inflicted before the tragic moments her life was taken. Her cause of death was determined to be forceful pressure to the neck and face. Campbell tried to claim that the killer was the girlfriend of Alicia's dad, but the CCTV crucially showed his movements. The footage was provided by Campbell's mother, who told Glasgow High Court she was surprised to see the CCTV footage as she believed that he had gone to bed. Jeanette Campbell, 54, said her heart sank when she saw the footage of him disappearing in the middle of the night when she reviewed her CCTV. She knew she had to call the cops when she spotted her son had disappeared in the night for an hour at the time the 6-year-old was last seen tucked in bed. She added that she had questioned her son about his dirty feet, but he tried to claim that he had been outside looking for his phone. Campbell was found guilty following a 9-day trial in the High Court in Glasgow. The jury only took 3 hours to find him responsible. Reporting restrictions were lifted on February 22, 2019, allowing the press to name Campbell after a judge described him as being behind some of the wickedest, most evil crimes this court has ever seen. On October 2016, early Saturday morning in Fort Worth, CCTV cameras capture a man casing outside of the sleeping victim's house. The footage shows the assailant casing the house and peeking through a window at a woman sleeping before entering through an unlocked window. Here we see the horrifying moment the man broke in and proceeded to put his hands over her face and neck before attempting to sexually assault her. The victim said she woke up to the man strangling her and covering her face so that she couldn't scream for help. The woman said she came home late from work and had fallen asleep on the couch, watching an investigation discovery show ironically called A Stranger in My Place, which can be seen playing in the background of the security footage. When the victim realized she was not dreaming, she leapt off the couch. The man then commanded her to strip down, and while she was taking off her pants, she noticed the window open and made a break for it, but he drags her and pulls her back in. There is a scuffle, and the woman starts screaming for help. This startles the attacker and he flees the house. Luckily, there were no physical injuries to the woman. Millburn, New Jersey. A mother and daughter can be seen watching TV through footage captured on a nanny cam. In the recording, we witness the family being startled by a loud noise. Unfortunately, they couldn't react in time as a burglar made his way into the property. The perpetrator, 42-year-old Sean Costas, a dangerous criminal with a lengthy violent criminal record. He showed no remorse even as the woman gave no resistance. He didn't care that her daughter was watching as he viciously attacked her. She begged for mercy, but he continued to beat her, eventually throwing her down the basement stairs. He escaped with jewelry, including her wedding ring. Following the ordeal, the woman gathered enough strength to make it back up the stairs to ensure her daughter was okay and then called 911. Stephen McDaniel is a convicted felon charged with the murder of Lauren Giddens. The murderer had asked Lauren out a few times, but she had declined him as she was already dating someone else. Lauren and Stephen were classmates and graduated law from the same Mercer University's law school. The incident of murder took place about a month after they graduated from the university. They were neighbors in their apartment. He broke into the room of Lauren Giddens, the victim, on Sunday morning on the 26th of June 2011. The 31-year-old ex-classmate of Lauren Giddens snuck into her house around 4:30 a.m. and observed that she was sleeping. She was awoken by the sound of the floorboard creaking. McDaniel then leapt onto her bed, grabbed her throat and struggled to the floor. He continued until he strangled her to death and she took her last breath. He then dismembered her body and eventually disposed of it in a trash can. This is a video he took that fateful night. In 2014, Stephen McDaniel was held guilty and convicted of the murder of Lauren Giddens. It is noted that Stephen ran a blog post that revealed his deep hatred towards women. The lady featured in this video was said to be taking a nap when all of a sudden her bedroom door opens as if someone were to push it. The first assumption would be that it was just the wind, but the girl confirms that there was no window open and that she was the only one home at the time while she slept. It also appears that her covers were dragged off by some invisible force,